Myles.
Ryan, what up, what up, what up?
What's going on, man? Hey, just so everybody in the chat knows, in 59 minutes.
Oh no, don't bring it up.
59 minutes. We've got a birthday here on Gamescast Live. Who's turning 10? Myles is.
I wish. Well,
so in 59 minutes, guys, remember to wish Myles a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Do you hate birthdays, or are you okay with it?
No, I don't. I like birthdays, but I think it's one of those things of like the last several. I've kind of just like, yeah. I look on social media, I see people having the most epic birthdays, and I'm like, God, my life is so boring compared to theirs. And then I'm like, you don't compare. The best thing you can do on your birthday is do fuck all. And I'm just going to be doing lots of gaming tomorrow. It's going to be great.
I just don't know what to celebrate after 30. It's like, all the milestones are over. You had your first cigarette. You drank for the first time. You did, cocaine, and then when you turn 16, you get your license. And then it's and that's just kind of downhill after that. I don't really know
That's true.
If there's any more milestones. Milestones.
I like it, man. But dude, I would say
after all,
it's all about doing what you want to do, and genuinely, not making this up, I can't think of any better way to kicking it off than doing it on Gamescast live. Chatting about VR games. That's gonna be fucking kick ass.
Well,
so yeah,
awesome. Let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
This is PSVR Gamescast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Wise Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live, 6 p.m. Eastern on Without Parole for your viewing pleasure, but we also care about your oral pleasure. That's right. So make sure you tune into podcast services of your choice because our good friend Rypop uploads them for us. And if you don't like sitting through all this kind of nonsense, we totally understand that too. That's why Rody the GameCat General puts timestamps into the show after the fact. That's right. R.I.P. Sci-Fi GameCat Henry. He didn't die. He just retired, but R.I.P. My name is Brian Pop from the show right here, PSVR Without Parole. And Myles, dude, where the fuck are you? Did you renovate and make things boring? Oh, are you in the States?
I wish. Not yet, Brian. No, I am at my parents' place because I'm currently... I was so inspired by Brian that I decided to get my kitchen redone. You see a friend do something and you're like, why not? Because a kitchen's just something you do on a whim, right?
Right. I'd also like to be in misery for 4 months.
Yeah. I keep popping back, but for something as late as tonight, I'm not going back. Like when I did my show on Wednesday, I did go back to my house to do the show there. But 11 o'clock tonight, I couldn't justify going back and waking up my parents, closing the door on the way back in. So yeah, I'm being a bit quieter than normal, and someone says it sounds like I'm phoning in. It's because I'm using my AirPods. And we did try the speakers on the laptop, and we concluded it's worse. So this is the best you're gonna get.
Yeah, neither one we're up to Myles' normal standard of quality, but this I think this will do. This feels more intimate for some reason. I'm like, I feel like I also have to get close to the mic and whisper a little bit and make sure I don't wake my parents up. There was a board game here in the States. Maybe you got this too. When I was a kid, I remember it was called Don't Wake Daddy. That was the name of it, right? And as an adult, I desperately want to play this game. But I never played it as a kid. I just remember the song, Don't Wake Daddy. It was like, fucking, what's Daddy gonna do if you wake him up? Like, is that it? Like, is the game over? Do you die? Like, what has Daddy done?
That's amazing. I'll have to check it out. Sounds good.
Shit. I mean, it could be awful. I mean, I have no idea. Yeah, guys, let's kick this thing off properly with Professor Lilith's $5 tip, saying, by popular demand, this week's Sunday multiplayer is Legendary Tales. See you at 2 p.m. Eastern on February 18th. Swords, sorcery, it's an RPG. I don't envision
Amazing.
Lila's voice sounding like that. I feel like I really went deeper than I think maybe she would. It's an RPG. Yeah, guys, make sure you join our Discord. Click the link in the description below. While you're there, make sure you subscribe to Myles' channel. But over on our Discord, you can get in on the Sunday multiplayer games. Dude, I know a lot of people have been playing Legendary Tales on their own. And I fully endorse that because I really enjoy playing this game a little bit lonelier, right? But like taking on everything yourself, I really enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a game that I definitely play mixed. Sometimes I play with my friends. Other times, if you want to grind and do stuff. I haven't actually played it for about 3 or 4 days. I like you, I was able to whiz through a lot because obviously we knew what to do. Having sunk so many hours into it. And I have got to the end boss, and I'm not going to go into any specifics. Obviously, there's an end boss in the game. To be fair, I don't even know if it is the end boss. I might play it and there might be something else, but it seems like an end boss. And I am getting my ass handed to me. It is the most epic thing I've ever seen in a VR game in terms of like just the build up to it and everything. Like, there's basically a point in the game, and again, I'm not going to give into specifics, but when we played it the first time, I was like, the opening few hours of the game definitely feels lacking because of where it takes it. But I do think that the fact that the game starts slow is what makes you appreciate it more as you get into it. But there's a certain dungeon that I'd say maybe it's the 4th one or something. Again, I'm not going to go into specifics, 3rd or 4th, and from then on, it just gets better and better, and like you just get a real sense of things. And then getting to where I am now, I've had the biggest smile on my face. I'm like, this game continues to blow me away, and but I need to wait until I've got a full squad of level 50s, because even though bosses and that scale up when you have more players, I think it's just going to be one of those things of you need multiple people with different strategies or different builds to help you take it on. So hopefully some game cats can team up to make it happen. But it's the most amazing game.
Well, like I said, the good news, beyond everything that you're saying, is that I got a massive patch today, and a lot of the things that people were complaining about did get addressed. Fortunately, I think the big one for people was there's a lot of balancing in terms of the classes and stuff, but it seems like the people did not like the toggle grip being required. People wanted to, have the option to just hold it. I don't remember if they used the. Did you read into these patch notes? I haven't played the game today, so I didn't get a chance to check it all out.
I haven't read the patch notes. Some people told me it's fixed some of the trophies, because I know some of the trophies haven't been working for me, which is good. It tends to be the stuff like you've got to sell so much gold, so many items in shops. You've also got to craft so many weapons, and a lot of the times it wasn't registering it. So obviously that's an important one to me. Although, as you've mentioned on the show, one of the trophies is to complete it on permadeath mode, which I have. I think it's an excellent trophy to have on a game like this.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can stomach it.
Yeah, excellent trophy. I think most trophy lists should have ridiculously difficult tasks like that associated with them to make the platinum feel like it was really worth it. That we get far too many of these really easy platinums, then we get one like this and we're like, man, I'd like to get it, but it sounds rough. So.
Do you know the PSVR game that I'm reminded of that had a really tough trophy? Don't know if one comes to mind before I say the one that's on my mind.
Not off the top of my head, but I mean, there were a lot of crazy ones. What are you thinking?
Fracked.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, for a game that's only like 2.5 hours long.
It was it was a permadeath, I think, wasn't it? Yeah. And I think that did have a platinum trophy as well, because I think I did attempt it once and I got an hour and a half, 2 hours in, and I was like, yeah, I can't do it again. Like, respect to anyone that does.
Yeah. It's been interesting with Legendary Tales because, obviously I'm always out there listening to comments, always wondering what other people are saying. I absolutely love this game. And so, I was curious because I got a couple comments from people being like, oh, Brian, you really, fucked up your credibility with this one. Like, I'm never going to trust you again. And I'm like, and you know how we can see how long people have been subscribed to his channel for. These people are not subscribed, and I'm like, yeah. I'm sure that you've been here for the long haul, guy. But I was curious how much of that was just trolls, and how much, how many people out there are actually like really enjoying the game. And so I said, fuck it, man, let's do a poll. And the poll over on Twitter, should be up to date. It has 719 votes. So if you haven't voted yet, make sure you get your vote in. 2/3 of you say you haven't played it. So working with the remaining numbers, and by the way, it looks like it's doing pretty well sales wise. So if 2/3 of you haven't played it, then man, it could only stand to do even better. So let's see, 21% of the people who have played it, that means you multiply that times 3. So that's 60. Oh, so 2/3 of the people who have played it say they absolutely love it, which is pretty fucking good. Almost 30% of the people who have played it said it's not bad, I'm having fun. And then only like 10% of the people said it's pretty bad. So pretty good, man. These are pretty good numbers, especially for a game that's like this. That's certainly can be divisive because of how grindy it is, because of how deep the mechanics are. There's going to be people that are just like, nope, not for me.
Yeah, because I definitely think, again, playing it single player, I enjoy doing it, but I do think that there is this kind of magic to discovering it with other people. Obviously, you can discover it for yourself, but I kind of, you and I did it when we first played it. Like, we were learning off each other things that the other hadn't noticed and stuff. And I do think that's a big part of it. And I do like that you can just dive into lobbies with other people, and the community's always been really good. Lots of people have been very helpful. I'm curious to know if one of the things in the patches is you can filter the lobbies now because it would always show you like all the locked rooms.
I definitely saw that. It no longer shows locked rooms. It no longer shows full rooms, and apparently it fixed the bug where you couldn't see your friends were playing. So supposedly all of that's fixed. Again, I hate when I have to like just trust the patch notes and say, "Yep, okay, it's fixed."
Yeah,
because I just haven't had a chance to get in there and play it today.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, huge credit to the devs. Like they were completely transparent about their approach to this game in the lead up. They knocked it out the park, in my opinion, with the launch. And they have, they actually came out and said, we're not going to be able to do any patches for the first week, but we will work on it as soon as possible. And it seems like it's an excellent patch. So well done once again to BJ and the whole team. The whole 5 of them.
Yeah. 5 people making a fantastic game like this, dude. Gives me a lot of hope for the future of VR, for sure. Let's check out some of these tips, man. We got Living Legend with a Canadian $5 tip. Says, sup, Game Cats. Can't believe Real Optics non-prescription VR2 lenses are still sold out and have been sold out for months. Wow. Well, I'll tell you, despite the fact that AJ will go to bat for VR Rock, he hasn't tried Real Optics. So guys, Real Optics are the best lenses out there. And honestly, like I absolutely do suggest what Living Legend seems to want to do, and that's just get a pair, even if you don't have a prescription, because then they are protecting your current lenses. They're so easy to clean. I don't really worry too much about like wiping them vigorously and shit. You can pop them out and clean them real quick, and then boom, magnetically put them back. And as I've said 1,000 times, my prescription was so light that my optometrist didn't recommend I get glasses, but I used the prescription she gave me to get Real Optics lenses, which is very, very slight, but it made a world of difference. When people put on their PSVR2 and they go, oh, it's blurry, I'm like, you know what? You might need fucking glasses. Like it's not, it sounds like I'm giving like the PSVR2 an easy way out or whatever, or I'm saying, oh, it's obviously the user's fault when shit. No, it's amazing what a very slight prescription did in VR. It was kind of amazing. So, yeah, I guess we'll have to keep an eye on Real Optics in their non-prescription lenses. Samson 143 VR with a $2 tip. I want to talk to Samson, but I don't want to wake up Myles' parents. Says like and subscribe. Hi, y'all. Oh, thanks, man. That's really that's sweet. Jeremy the NES rookie with the New Zealand $5 tip says definitely driving to the depot to pick up my replacement PSVR 2. Oh, currently, dude, I think I've become. Can you become dyslexic later in life? I've had the weirdest reading problems lately. I looked at a sign and I read it 13 times and I was like, how could they have screwed up the sign that badly? And then I like kind of looked down and looked back at it and I was like, oh my God, I read it wrong 13 times in a row. There's definitely something wrong with me, but we all knew that. Currently driving to the depot to pick up my replacement PSVR2. Looking forward, sirens on my end, to the show and also to a weekend of legendary tales. That's awesome, Jeremy. Are you playing with anybody? I want to know, man. I really do want to know, especially with the people who said they don't like the game. Not you, Jeremy, obviously, but the other people who said they don't like it. Have you tried playing with friends? Like
That's what I mean.
It feels wildly different to the point where I'm like, I actually do often prefer playing alone, but like, I know I'm sort of in the minority on that. Most people prefer playing games with friends and they think it makes a massive difference. I saw VR Demon leave a comment like that saying, oh yeah, I thought it was kind of average. And then I played with people and it was great. So, keep that in mind. Living Legend with the Canadian $2 tip says, what Switch games do you play when not in VR, Brian? Do you play Switch, Myles?
I don't. When I was going to get a Switch, it was actually when I opted for a PSVR instead, and I feel I made the right choice. And I've been thinking about getting if it was an OLED Switch, the revamp, but it wasn't. And then I'm like, Switch 2 maybe, but I don't know. VR is keeping me happy, and without getting too into it now, because the question's for you about flat screen. The game I've been playing most of this week, and obviously I haven't had my full VR setup here, is Helldivers 2. And oh my God, I wish that had a VR port. It's the most fun I've had playing a game in a very, very long time. It is epic as fuck.
Yeah, I do hear a lot of people talking about that one. Yeah, honestly, dude, I gotta be honest with you, Living Legend. I have not had my Switch charged up in a very long time. I literally just charged it up today because I wanted to play Eastward. It's very strange. I was watching the channel Watcher, and just in passing, they were talking about Eastward, and I was like, this looks like a game I want to play. I honestly don't think I played anything on my Switch since like Mario. What was the last one? Wonder. I had a great time with Wonder. I basically played the entire game in a weekend. So
I'm looking at Wonder now because I don't think I really know it.
Yeah, it was good. Super Mario Wonders. I mean, it was new Super Mario Brothers 3 essentially, except they just went a little bit crazier with some of the power ups and some of the, some of the more interesting things that they did. But I mean, like, they clearly didn't call it New Super Mario Brothers 3 because they did sort of screwed up the new Super Mario Brothers franchise with 2.
Right.
Yeah, but maybe Wonder can be its own series. I liked Wonder a lot. Certainly not the Super Mario World of epicness that people claimed it was, but a solid 8 out of 10. It was good.
I like what DJ Dirty Yellow said in the chat, which says Helldivers 2 is what Farpoint 2 should be. I would agree.
I mean, do you like Farpoint 1 was so story driven, right? It was like a single player, like very emotional story.
That's true.
From what I've seen of Helldivers, it seems not that at all.
No, it's not. It's complete, just bombastic, like fighting for democracy, or moderated democracy as they call it. It's the funniest shit. Never has friendly fire ever felt so hilarious. You get killed by your mate, and normally you'd go, "Oh, why'd you kill me?" On this, you're fucking laughing because it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Alejandro D. Catalytic Game Cat Rare with the level 3 membership. Thanks for being a member. You says, hey guys, completely off topic as usual. I've been watching reviews of the new Sony headset, the Pulse Elite, but no one mentions if it fits well with the PSVR2. Let us know if you find something out. Thanks. I mean, obviously this is the community to find out. I don't go crazy with headphones for the VR headset. I don't know, Myles. What do you?
Well, I was going to say, we know that the in-ear new ones they released work with PSVR2, I think.
Right.
So it's not. I assume this is a question of, is it going to be comfortable? Because I use the 3D Pulse headphones with my PSVR2, and that works fine. So look, this isn't an answer to the question. I assume it would work. It would seem weird for it not to.
Right.
And also that they're doing it with their whole new ecosystem, aren't they, with these new headphones? Because you can't. like with the Portal, the PlayStation Portal, you can't sync up like your Bluetooth headphones to it. You have to buy these new headphones because they have their own like PlayStation Connect thing. So I'm assuming that will, because it connects with the PS5 as well, that would work. But yeah, I'd be curious to know if anyone has, but it'd be an expensive thing to test.
For sure. Yeah, if anybody has, definitely let us know in the comments, because I don't think that's something I'm going to be getting around to. Myles, next week is looking a little bit on the slow side, despite the fact that we've got all sorts of great things happening, right? Next week is the 1-year anniversary of PSVR2, so we could definitely be seeing some cool shit next week. The only thing we know is coming out, and I don't mean to laugh, but it's Operation Serpens, which has kind of been kicking around for a couple of years, I believe, on Steam or Quest. Myles, I've had this sitting on my hard drive for about a month, and I haven't touched it yet. What was your opinion of Operation Serpens?
So I think this was a great example of why I took a slightly different approach moving forward with my Let's Plays, which is I tell people to sort of ask questions for the following 24 hours and being mindful that within the 24 hours afterwards, I might have a different opinion, because you can play a game that isn't particularly great, but you're still having a fun time with. And with Operation Serpens, there was a lot I enjoyed about it, but also there was a lot that I was very frustrated with. And, you know, you have the caveat, this was made by a solo developer, very impressed by that. But at the end of the day, you know, that's not how you make the judgments with these things. I liked a lot of the arcadiness of it. Getting headshots, seeing heads pop off is really, really fun. And I think the mission designs are kind of interesting, but I also think at times they can be a bit glitchy as well. There's a cool mechanic where you can actually put your pistol in your mouth so that you can climb ladders.
That's cool.
And spoilers, the one of the last missions, you're actually on a massive crane. So you're climbing up and you're stopping at the different points so you can sort of shoot and then keep going. And it's really cool. But then as you're doing it, you're not entirely sure where you're meant to jump off. And so you might jump off and it would be within the right height. Like you'd make the fall, but then you fall through it because you're not supposed to get off at that point. And so there's just a lot of level design issues I have, and also there's some frustrating parts where you'll die in a level maybe like what feels like 10-15 minutes in, and you go all the way back to the beginning. So I feel like it could have done better with checkpoints, but then that's a part of the difficulty. But I think that when it comes to that, it's got to be something that if you mess up, you're happy to start from the beginning, whereas this, it felt like, nah, that was rubbish. It shouldn't have done it. There's a lot of interesting different modes, and there are some really cool ideas that are done in it, like as I said, putting the gun in the mouth as you're climbing. They have a drone that you can use, and so you actually pick up a device and you're controlling the gun drone, and so in the device you can actually see the camera of where it's looking. And there's a mission that you use it on, which was really, really cool. The sniper rifle. And sorry, I'm jumping around, but it's just to kind of give you my memories of like the things that did and didn't work. The sniper rifle, you're literally looking down the sight as it is, and it's not like you go into a sniper scope mode, which I think we found in VR games. You need it, you know, so that it's a steady look down the sight. This, you're like looking down it, and it's not particularly clear.
Other than the scope, how this looks like a game that better be like firing on all cylinders when it comes to resolution and frame rates. Was it like? Please tell me it was like crystal clear.
Yeah, it was really clear. It was really clear, good frame rates. I thought the haptics were fine. I know that they're working on patches, because one of the issues I had was when you were holding like an assault rifle with both hands, you were getting a lot of recoil. Like you couldn't do single shots. It would like be going up, 3 shots going up. Yeah. And then I would do it with one hand and it was the same, but it actually, it was worse. I was like, no, if you're holding it with both hands. In the end, I was using the shotgun as a rifle because it was more accurate for long distance stuff. But yeah, like it's a small game. I couldn't recommend it unless you just wanted something that was, small indie and sort of like a bit of silly fun.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of this sort of like, is it sort of like if you've exhausted all your other options, then I guess there's this.
Yeah, and like they have a zombie mode, and the zombies, man, like this is going to sound probably a bit strange for me to say it on a game like this. I remember when I was playing it, I think it had some of the best like zombie sounds. Like you generally feel like, oh shit, waves of zombie. It's not like just shooting the waves of zombies. It's like shit, where are they? And they weren't scary looking, but they sounded scary. But like the scoring system on it, it was just really weird. It was like every round a wave of zombies came, you had a list, you had a rack of guns, and you had to pick up two guns. It wouldn't start the round until you picked up two. But I only wanted to use one, and then basically once you use some guns, it takes them off the rack. So the next round you've got less guns to choose from. But then once you've gone through them all, it then starts again, and then you can pick from them all again. And so there was just some really odd design choices I wasn't particularly sure about. They do have a co-op mode where you're in a shopping mall, and it's like a wave shooter, and after every wave a new like shop entrance will open and you can go in there.
Okay.
And that was kind of cool. But there were some times where you were getting killed and like not sure how you were getting killed, like shooting through walls and stuff. So why I struggled with this game was there was a lot that I liked about it, but there was so much I didn't like about it. And I was just kind of like, if they fix these things, there's actually something decent here. And yeah, and it's you know, I think they're all fixable things, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it is. Sorry, did it come out today, or is it coming out this week?
Next week. This upcoming.
It's coming out next week. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see what comes with the launch patch, because I know that the dev was watching my Let's Play and you know, was defending some of their decisions against my criticisms, which is totally within their right to do so. But there were other things where they were like, no, actually, that's something I will definitely look into. Yeah. But you know, is it a game I'm going to come back to? I've 100%ed it, which is there's no platinum trophy, but it's doing all the missions, and I don't. And there are some game modes that would require you to come back each day, but I don't feel compelled to go back again, unfortunately. However, it might be a game that if I'm showing some VR, I might put them in. But once again, there's a lot to choose from, so there's that as well. But if anyone's got any further questions about it, I have done a Let's Play. Feel free to have a look at it. You'll get a real sense of like the look and feel, and then do subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, if you're not subscribed to Myles' channel, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, this is he's like I do my best, right? We talk about a lot of games here on GamesCast. You know, I do the preview stuff on PSVR this week. I've been struggling to get like even a review out every week, right? And so I have to have a lot of reviews in the works. Some we may actually call them Brian Bites, which was a great fucking suggestion on I believe Monday's show. And so I got a lot of stuff coming up, but Myles has streamed like every single PSVR2 game ever made. So like that is a great resource, you know, even if you're just like, you don't want to spoil anything, you know, you can just kind of skim through and see if it's for you. But also Myles, I think you do great playthroughs, great Let's Plays. So, you know, always entertaining if you just want to sit there and watch the whole thing as well.
I know, but I am mindful of the flaws with every format has positives and negatives, and I think one of the flaws is I get put on the spot at the end of what do I think, and sometimes you got to let it settle. And I think I do often have a more optimistic approach. Like last week when we were talking about Survivorman, I think I perhaps came across a bit too positive about it, but the reality was I did have an all right time with it. But also, when you're playing those games on Let's Plays, you're more into character. Whereas if I was playing it by myself, I'd be like, why am I doing this? Right. And Rachel in the chat said, Crisis Brigade 2 does this job for me in terms of the arcade shooter. And I actually went back into Crisis Brigade because I wanted 100% it. And I was like, I forgot how good this game is. Like, and I wish they made more levels. Like, it's just a really funny, you know, well-polished game. So yeah, Crisis Brigade 2, I would definitely recommend over that. But yeah.
Myles, it's time for us to move along to the headline of the show, which is the new arena mode that the developers for Hubris put out today. It is a free update. It's just a patch. And Myles has not had a chance to play this. Because I saw that you were playing Helldivers 2 all day. You've got your priorities. Shit happens. But I did play this, and I played this for about an hour. And I got to say that, man, first of all, if you don't know what's going on here, man, if you've ever played a hardpoint mode in Alvo, where you have to like occupy a certain spot with your team while defending it, or Solaris Off-World Combat, like the entire fucking main game mode was basically that, right? Wasn't that the deal with Solaris? Anyway, that's all this arena mode is. It kicks you off and it puts you in this. It's a pretty massive arena. There's a lot of verticality to it, but you're running around shooting literally endless waves of bad guys, which is kind of funny because sometimes they will spawn like sort of right in front of you, and you're like, I get that there's an endless wave, but could you be a little bit less obvious about that? Like, oh, the monster closet spawn is right here. And so sometimes it's a little bit funny, but for the most part, it's okay. There's 3 difficulties. I played on the default difficulty. The middle is like easy, medium, and hard. I played on medium, and I got my ass kicked quite a bit. And it's really because what you're seeing here is me playing way later at the end of the hour. What I should have done was reacclimate to Hubris's controls, because Hubris controls are not the same as all other first-person shooters. And so, when you're running around, you first of all, you've got your pistol, but you're also given like your 3 other weapons right off the bat. And so it's like, well, what are you doing with the pistol? Like, let's get the other ones out and work with those. And then you got to remember that you can climb, what kind of surfaces you can climb. You got to remember which button is the jump button, which is the face button on the right controller that's closer to you. It took me a little while to remember. So very frequently I was like running off of a ledge, putting my weapon away, because that's the other button on that controller. And I was like, no, I wanted to jump. And so I got killed a lot just for being stupid. So if you do play this again, I would say start on easy and just kind of give yourself some time to reacclimate. And then what happens, you basically, occupy these spaces for, I don't know what it is, 20 seconds or something. And then it moves you to another space. Go find the next space you need to occupy. And there's a little tiny arrow on your wrist, a little holographic arrow showing you which direction to go. It's not great about height. So like, as there's almost like basically I would say 3 levels of verticality in this arena, and a lot of the areas sort of look the same. And so when there's an arrow that's pointing, I do think it is pointing up and down, but not to the extent where you're like, oh, I got to make sure I'm on the first level, when I get all the way in that direction. Like until you're like right below it, you're like, shit, the arrow's pointing straight up, It's like, but yeah, after you occupy those zones 3 times in a row, and defend them, then you're given a screen where it says, hey, like what perk do you want? You can, and it depends on what level you're on. But you're able to double the attack power of your weapon, or, add 100 points to your shield, or, give you some health canisters. They're not always the same, but it seems like there's only about 6 or 7 total, and then you have the option between like 3 or 4 each time. So it's not wildly different. And also the playthrough that you're seeing here, I didn't die. I stopped playing because I got bored. And
that was going to be one of my 2 questions was, do you feel a sense of progression? Like, do you feel like you're working towards something, or do you feel like I'm just in a game mode and let's just see where it goes?
I think it's endless, and it's just like, hey, like try to get the best score. And I'm like, but I don't care about getting the best score, because I don't think I'm ever going to play this again.
Is there a high scoreboard? Leaderboards? Leaderboards?
I think so. I don't know. The thing is that I like I said, I kind of just don't care. It's unfortunate, because like they developed this whole game mode, and I think the whole time, I'm going to be honest with you, Myles, the whole time I was playing, I was like, man, if I was playing this with Myles, I'd be having a lot more fun. But it's single player only, just like Hubris, so not a big surprise there. But yeah, you're playing through the whole thing yourself, and again, the enemies are all just NPCs, and they're not very bright, and it's just endless. And yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's like some kind of final boss or anything. I think the idea of this arena mode is that it's just endless. And I got I don't know, a half an hour in, and I just didn't want to do it anymore.
And there's no there's no consequence of playing this. You're not unlocking anything for the main game or anything like that.
No, and I think that would have been great because, again, you are using these weapons that you do use in the actual game. In there, in the actual game, you're upgrading them, but it seems like you're giving them. I think there's more upgrades in this, so it would be pretty cool if you could take these weapons back and use them in the full game or something. I don't know. This is DJ Dirty Yellow. This is Hubris. This is the update that dropped today. It's just strange, man. It's just really strange. So I guess I guess the question I have to ask while playing this, while looking at this footage, is just why. Right, these are developers who have really said, "Hey, we have so many plans for this IP. Like the Hubris, we have games and games planned." I was like, "Cool." So you worked on this instead of the sequel, or what? Where is this going to get you? I think is the question, right? Does free DLC like this that most people are going to jump into go, "Oh, that was interesting," play for 30-40 minutes and then never play again? Where does that get you? Does this actually make your game more noticeable because it got another post on the PlayStation blog to generate more sales? Is this game on sale right now and they just needed something new to promote it with? Because I really think what they should be doing with their time is focusing heavily on the sequel, right? And then they'll when the sequel comes out, there'll be a reason for people to come back and actually buy this game. I don't think this is creating a reason for people to buy Hubris if they haven't already.
Yeah, that's such a shame. And also, when I hear the word arena, and obviously this has no weighting on whether it was a good name or not, but I think it's like a death match, or like the idea of having I always do this where I say, wouldn't this have been a cool idea? But
yeah,
if it was a death match while you had the NPCs with you as well, so it's there's sort of PvP VE or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, the idea that you're just in there by yourself and it's endless, I find. It means there's no goal. And I think the idea that you just play something again and again until you get a high score, unless there is a high scoring leaderboard system that is, again, consequential, that you unlock stuff, or, people want goals. People often want goals. Otherwise, it just feels like I don't want to say it's a tech demo, but it's kind of it becomes more of a sandbox kind of thing. From what you're telling me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the combat in Hubris was fine, right? I think there were moments where it got really challenging, but I think when you make a mode like this that is all about combat, it starts to expose some of the game's weaknesses. And I don't think combat is Hubris's best aspect. And so I was like, if you're going to make a new mode for Hubris, I don't think it should be just nonstop combat against endless waves of enemies that just appear everywhere, right? I mean, I don't know what you do with it, but I don't think this was the right move. This has to be my hope is that they've got an idea for the sequel. They're like, hey, what if we make it? What if we make some kind of competitive mode in the sequel alongside the, remember when every single game had a multiplayer mode, right? It was even your single player adventure games, there was always this tacked on multiplayer mode. It doesn't happen nearly as much anymore. But what if that's what they want to do with Hubris? And this was sort of step one of them kind of testing that out and just fucking add it to Hubris. Add it to Hubris because we've already got it up and running. That's sort of what it feels like. Distracted says combat is the weakness because it lacks variety. You know what? I think you're onto something, Distracted, because they do add more enemy types as you progress through this. But like I said, half an hour in, I think at that point I was still only four enemy types, and I'm just I don't care. I kind of just don't care. So I think that is part of the problem here. I don't know. I feel like there's more things they could have done. They certainly added health pickups and shield stations where you regenerate shields, but I feel like there's more they could have done. I will say, as far as something comparing something like Solaris Off-World Combat, it's cool that you've got a game like this where you're basically doing the same thing, but you're also running and jumping and climbing and like, gun in one hand, then like climbing with your other hand and sort of throwing you, like just kind of propelling yourself into different places. And I do feel like that, I obviously we're never going to see Solaris Off-World Combat 2 at this point, but I know it's sad, right? But I feel like if that's not the direction they were heading in, where you're like climbing and
you see that? No one saw that.
Wonderful. Your makeshift studio is falling apart.
This is the thing, we're doing DIY shit.
Yeah.
I'm really nervous it's going to fall back down again. That's right.
Medusa versus Shu says Synapse had limited enemy types, but the difficulty curve kept it interesting. I actually think enemy types were a problem in Synapse. The fact that like there weren't even any bosses. There was the one other enemy type that they were like, "This is a boss." We're just kidding. It's not. It's just the first time you've seen this on me. I think that was a major problem in Synapse, in my opinion, of course. Anyway, so let's hope that there's a reason that this exists, and let's hope that other people are having more fun with it than I am, because give me a reason to reinstall Hubris, but then I immediately uninstalled it again. So not sure what the point was. Yep. Myles, I don't know if Hubris is on sale or not, but I do feel like we should check out this Planet of the Discount sale.
Let's do it.
All right, here. I think we should bring this up. If you guys didn't know, there's a Planet of the Discount sale going on in multiple regions. Definitely the US, UK, most of Europe. I think there's a few differences, but I don't think too many. So, Myles, are you going to bring up the UK version of this sale?
Yeah, I've got both in front of me, so we can just go through the US one, and then if I see any differences or anything to clarify, I can then bring up the UK one.
Cool, that works. All right, then let's bring up Planet of the Discounts. Like I said, this goes till the end of the month. I believe the last day of February. So if anything jumps out at you, you got like 2 weeks to pick it up. I think No Man's Sky's a no-brainer. $30. This is like the sale price. I looked it up just yesterday. It doesn't go on sale for cheaper. Yeah, talk to me.
Can I request we do something? Can we sort the order by A to Z? And the reason why is because the orders are different on both of the lists, and so to make sure the default, if you get me.
Yep, we're good.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I can see them next to each other.
All right, then everybody fuck No Man's Sky. That's what he just said.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, Fisherman's Tale is half price. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, say it's the same exact game as it was on PSVR1. Feels like the same resolution, still teleportation. It's a great game, but I mean,
it's a great game. Yeah,
yeah. I think I've already played this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, man. Do we really want to go through these one by one?
Let's play through. I think we can. We don't have to go in details. I mean, Fisherman's Tale, yeah. I mean, it's 50% off in the UK. It's $5.99.
Okay. Afterlife VR is $12 instead of $15. I mean, for $3 less. Like, if you weren't interested before, you probably shouldn't be interested now. It's only really good if you love really cheesy horror games.
Yeah. It's same in the UK.
Yeah. After the Fall Deluxe Edition is $16 instead of $40.
I think that's an incredible deal. For such, and it's a deluxe edition, it really is like the definitive edition. So much has been sorted with it. I would say though, this is a game I would recommend only playing if you've got friends to play with, and of course we do Sunday multiplayer and stuff like that. But this is a game where you want to keep coming back to it. This is a game that you want to have, a group of game cats or friends that you're like, hey, for this month, should we play this on a regular basis? And I think if you got that, it's not a game that you're going to be able to sort of discover people and stick around with, because I find it to be very antisocial with its, what's the main room called? It was called like the social space or what have you, the social hub that was just dead.
Yeah. After the PSVR2 update for this is great. I still don't love the game. I mean, like, even is a push for me, but I understand that, like, I'm in the minority on this one. I totally understand when like a lot more people like a game than I do. So I think if you're going to play After the Fall, this is the time to pick it up.
Yes.
I love the way it looks in the PSVR2 headset, and the haptics are great. Another Fisherman's Tale, $14 instead of 20. I was not a fan of this. I actually like the original better.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Before Your Eyes, 12 instead of 15.
This is a game I think everyone should experience. But I feel like that discount is not going to be what tips you over the edge. You know what I mean? I think if you weren't going to give it a go, I think 25% off. I mean, it might. No, do you know what I mean? Though I think people are waiting for a bigger sale if they haven't decided to get it already. But I do think it's a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't seem like your thing, then yeah, just wait. I mean, I could see being like, yes, pick this up for $5 because it's a cool little story that you control with your eyes by blinking, which is cool, but not the greatest use of eye tracking I've seen so far. And I wasn't as moved by this as everyone else. Everyone's like, oh, I cried so much, and I was like, wait, I cry at everything. Why didn't I cry at this? I teared up during like one scene, but I was like, I didn't feel what I was supposed to feel. I know, it's crazy. Breachers.
No, just different things. I bawled my eyes out both times I played it. So yeah.
Breachers is 20% off. Dude, I love Breachers. I think Breachers is great. $24 instead of 30. What do you think?
I mean, I'd recommend it as a game. I think 20% off. Yeah, I think if that's going to be enough to nudge you. But I think if you're into shooters and you want a Rainbow, I've never played Rainbow Siege, but a lot of people say it's like the VR version of Rainbow Siege. Obviously, It's not a AAA like production. But it's good fun, man. It's really good fun.
Listen, it's not Breacher's fault that I don't like playing it that much. I'm just so tired of military PvP shooters. Like, I'm done, man. Like, so many people you'll see on the Without Parole comments, they'll say, dude, too many horror games. There's too many horror games on PSVR. I'm never gonna get sick of horror games. Like, I just won't. Like, that's like my genre, right? But I do very frequently step outside my interests and play things that I wouldn't normally be interested in order to review them for the channel. And I've done a lot of military shooters over the years, and I'm fucking tired of them. There's a reason I wasn't into them before PSVR. It's because they're just not really my thing. And so as good as Breachers is, like, I just don't ever feel like playing it. So it's not Breachers' fault. It's just me. Like, I mean, I love horror games. And PvP military shooters, I've had my fill of. I'll still review it at some point because I do like it. Force myself to play it. Discronia, $18 instead of 40. It's over half price. No.
I know some people that love it, but I really was frustrated by it. It was way too slow paced. I'd say it's kind of like more of a novel that you're walking around. It's between a walking simulation and a novel. I don't feel you really have much autonomy. You're just like going through the sequence of events, which the click and play games in the good old days, I think you could probably get away with. But when you're in VR, standing around, I found it a bit more frustrating. I think you would have already got this game if this is your kind of thing. And if it is your kind of thing, then obviously 55% off is a massive discount. But
yeah, it's better than Tokyo Chronos. I will say that. Because it is more than just clicking through pages of text. However, it's not that much more than clicking through pages of text. They added some gameplay, but not nearly as much as you need when you're sitting in VR. This would be a great game on Vita, as would most visual novels. Not so much in VR. Galaxy Kart is $14.
Before you get to that, there is one in the UK store that is before Galaxy Kart that's not on yours. Forever Bowl.
Here it is. This is the one. Everyone's so excited because it's like $2 or something, right?
Well, no, it's now £10.79. It's 40% off. But you're right. It was $2. It was $2 the other day.
Did they fix it?
Yeah. So it's maybe they fixed it because I knew
90% off before.
Yeah, I knew some people that went, "Oh, I've just got it." They're like, "Would you recommend it?" I was like, "I wouldn't," but at the same time, if it's $2, yeah, you might as well get it.
Have you played it multiplayer? Because I played it for 6 minutes today while I waited for the Hubris update to download, and I didn't think it was terrible. I just think, as my good friend Orseek put it, it's unfortunately the best bowling game we have on PSVR2 right now.
Yeah, I think it's got three types of throwing with optimization. So you can have it where it's really sensitive and it's like there's no rails, and then you've got other ones where it will sort of not auto aim, but it sort of adjusts it. I have no issue with that. My issue with this game is when you play multiplayer, people can play on their own terms. If you want to play like realistic, you could be up against someone that is using this ridiculously powerful bowling ball with all the sort of auto aim-esque features. And I think, well, where's the fun in that? It would be nice if you could play a match with someone and say, here are the rules. This is how we're playing. Now, that might be something that changes, but until then, I thought that's completely taken the fun out. But this game has a lot of good to it. And like the bowling balls, they have one that's a fish bowl, and you're looking in it, and as you're turning it, the fish are moving around inside. Like graphically,
the important
there's
things
some
in a
really impressive
bowling game. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. No, but that's cool.
Yeah,
like that's the kind of stuff you want in a bowling video game, rather than when you go to the lanes. Yeah. Dude, everyone in chat is definitely helping us out a little bit here. Are you signed into Plus by any chance? Because it sounds like
no, I'm looking on the public page. So that's additional? Is it?
It sounds like sounds like the $2 or £2 sale is still accurate as long as you're signed into Plus.
Yes, it says save 50% more. Yeah, okay. So it is 9%. Thank you, guys. Galaxy Cart.
Galaxy Cart is $14 instead of $20. You guys know by now. I fucking love Galaxy Cart. It is. Listen, it's still got its issues. It's still very much an indie kart racer, but it is the only kart racer, Mario Kart style kart racer we have on PSVR2. And it's so much better than it was at launch. We have so many tracks. The improvements have been so over the top. And so I highly recommend this at $14, whether you have just a DualSense controller or you have a full racing rig, because they added wheel support. And I love playing this one hand on the wheel, and then one hand using a sense controller, shooting my opponents, firing off weapons. It's everything I want from a car racer in VR. And maybe it'll get a little bit more polished in the future. But for $14, yeah, I think it's pretty great.
I've still not played it with the steering wheel yet, so I'll have to check it out.
Painful. Hellsweeper for 26 instead of 40.
I mean, I'm still waiting for there's been a patch recently, hasn't there?
Yeah, but we're still waiting on the big patch for the graphics. It looks a lot better than it did before, but it's not where it's going to be, and I'm waiting for it to be where it's going to be. Yeah. I can't imagine it going on a bigger sale over the next month. They're still saying that by the end of Q1 that we'll have that graphics patch. So this might be the time to pick it up. The gameplay loop's pretty good.
Yes.
It's a good roguelike.
Yeah.
Although you might be sick of roguelikes. Yeah. Hubris is $18 instead of $30. I definitely think, I love this game. And despite everything I just said about the new arena mode, the actual campaign I really enjoy.
Yeah, same. I haven't completed it. I do need to go back to it, but it's a great world building and some really cool stuff in there. So would definitely recommend.
Izzard in the chat says most of these games are the price of a takeaway meal. It's actually pretty true. Like getting some fast food and shit. It's like this is getting these games is cheaper than some fast food meals. It's craziness. And I think that goes big time for Moss Book 1 and 2, going here for $11 and $13.
Yeah, and in the UK store they have the bundle as well, which is 35% off, so you can get both of them together for £20. Yeah. If we say this every time the sale comes around, which is, and I don't want to put words in Brian's mouth, but I think you do agree with me on this. If you've never played Moss before, this is a must get. If you have owned it on PSVR, only get it if you're a massive Moss fan, kind of thing, and you want to see it in the best possible way. But yeah,
does look pretty great on the OLED panels, man. Looks really nice. I'm trying to sign into my account over here just so we can just because I keep seeing these PlayStation Plus logo pop up, and I want to make sure that if there's any major differences. Okay. The Plus logo for Moss Book 1 and 2 is because there's a game trial. Same deal for Galaxy Cart. If you want to try it before you buy it, if you got a premium Plus membership, you get a game trial.
Cool.
Myles, that brings us to No Man's Sky again.
this is a no-brainer. This is one of the most incredible things, and they've just done. Is it the Omega update? It's just dropped.
Yep, the Omega update, which that expedition is free to play. And so that's the first time. Like if you've never played No Man's Sky before, you can download it and play that expedition completely free. Which, I mean, like that might be VR. That might be the best demo there is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get back to this one because it's just a lot to take in, man. It's a lot to take in, and I've always wanted to get into No Man's Sky. I just never really have. But man, the last time I checked it out on PSVR2 after the recent graphics updates, is a pretty game. It's a pretty game, and you can spend hundreds of hours in it. So, yeah, I think I have to recommend this, even though I don't play it. Where does that bring us? Project Wingman for $24 instead of $30. Yeah, I mean,
no,
don't do it.
No.
Yep. I feel like when it's like $10-15, maybe. Like if I don't know, but I don't know. Go buy Ultra Wings 2 instead. Ultra Wings 2 is cheaper than this entire game, and the whole thing is better than this game. So go buy Ultra Wings 2 for $20. Propagation Paradise Hotel, dude. Here we are again. It's a horror game, but it's an amazing horror game. $14 instead of $20. This is, I mean, you should have bought it at $20. Let's be honest, but this is $14. It is so polished. It just shows how these OLED panels can deliver some really dark blacks, and at the same time, like not suffer any Mura. Like it's pretty incredible what this is doing.
I know there was comparisons earlier to like a takeaway or something like that, or takeout, as you would say in the States. But like Propagation Paradise Hotel for £11.19 in the UK, I think like what you'd pay to go to a haunted house, and it's like this is like the ultimate haunted house because it's such an engaging VR experience, and I don't mean that in kind of an experience of a VR title. It's a game, but you feel it's so grounded. You feel like you're at a hotel. And like, what would you do in that situation? It's one of the most impressive VR experiences of this generation.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly on the shorter side. I think it took me like 4.5 hours, something like that. But I've heard other people say, "Oh, their first time through was just a couple hours," and so, and I mean, you know, you can say what you will about like cliffhanger endings, whatever, right? But like, more propagation is supposed to be coming, and you know, if it's of the quality of this one, I don't mind waiting a few years for Wanted Dev Studio to get around to it. This is a great beginning of what could be a very, very cool series. Propagation is no, I just had Propagation. Puzzling Places is $14 instead of $20. You can save an extra 10% with Plus. I think this is a must.
I think this is a must-own, and actually, I think this is I know this is going to be on my top 25 list next time we discuss it.
Nice.
Having gone back to it recently, and also at Christmas time, when my dad was playing, it was like, he says, I think this is one of the best things I've ever done. Like, him and my mum absolutely loved it, because the haptics, the sound effects, the way it's built, this is an example of a game where this is only possible because of VR. And I'm not going to get into the mechanics now because obviously we're trying to whiz through this, but genuinely speaking, I think this is a must-own VR title.
Nice. Yeah, I think I gave like a 9 out of 10 or something, and everyone was like, "Are you fucking out of your mind?" And I was like, "No, it's so good, so good."
You won't know until you're in it. Yeah.
Yep. And they're working on a graphics patch for PSVR2 to like up the resolution even further. So that'll be interesting. Ragnarok,
cool. And you save 10% more if you have PlayStation Plus on that as well.
Ragnarok's 40% off, so you can get $15 instead of $25. I'm not a Ragnarok fan, man, but I think you're going to go to bat for this one.
Yeah, I love this. I love the multiplayer of it. I think it's excellent. But I think if you're into metal music, I think you're going to really like this. There's a lot of, it's like power metal, a lot of that sort of stuff. Yeah, just look at the trailers and stuff. If you're into music games, I think this is a good time. I prefer this to drum rock as well in terms of the feeling of hitting stuff in terms of percussion. But yeah, not for everyone.
Strange. I'm not a drums rock fan either. Like maybe I don't want to be the drummer.
There we go.
Yeah, I love Beat Saber. I love. Red Matter 2. Oh man, I didn't even see this on this list. It's $21 instead of 30. It's 30% off. I mean, Red Matter 2 is fantastic. Like, dude, if you haven't played too many PSVR2 games yet, and you like really want to see something like push the the resolution and just the clarity, I mean, like Red Matter 2 is where it's at. Like some of those draw distances are amazing, and maybe doesn't have like the detail of like a AAA Resident Evil game, but man, what it does have is just like this visual cleanliness that you don't see in many games. It's beautiful, and at the same time, it delivers a great narrative, some great puzzles. Yeah, I love this game.
I finally completed it recently, and I was genuinely moved by the end. And I don't mean like I was in tears. I was just like, I'm so glad I got to experience this, like really special. And because I'm with my parents, I'm actually going to be getting my dad to play Red Matter, because often when you visit, you need a quick fix game. You don't get to play these games. You have to sort of warm into it. But my dad, an hour or two a night. And I grew up, watching Star Trek with him and lots of sci-fi, and so I can't wait for my dad to experience Red Matter. I keep thinking, should I put him straight into Red Matter 2? But I'm like, Red Matter's fine, isn't it? Like, yeah. I think because I feel like he's only going to play one.
Okay. Sirens over here. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Red Matter is.
Dude, I'm a little weirded out with the Resident Evil bundle, right? They give Resident Evil 7. And Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition and Village Gold Edition. Here, hold on a second.
Cheeky.
And it's $30 instead of 80. It's like 63% off. I mean, dude, I don't really understand the benefit of getting Resident Evil 7 until it has PSVR2 mode or capabilities.
It must be coming. It must be coming.
It must be.
I can't believe they could do this. I can't believe they would do this kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, Resident Evil 7, like, my favorite PSVR 1 game of all time. And so, I mean, if you have a PSVR 1 hooked up, man, like this is the greatest deal on the list. If you have a PSVR 1 and a PSVR 2 hooked up, like these are two of my favorite games. So go for it. But I don't know. Fingers crossed, man. That's all I can say is fingers crossed. Tennis on court with 30% off. Save another 5% with plus 25 instead of $35. I mean, dude, I want to go back to this game, and I was so hyped for it. The thing is, they've nailed the feeling of being in a tennis court. Like, they nailed it, but it was just. I think it's kind of like they had to just hit the ground running. I think the fact the game had the issues it did, I think it was a bit of a buzzkill.
Yeah.
And I think for you and I and AJ and Wes, when we're going through so many games, it first impressions are everything. Like, that is the chance we have to play it. Do you know what I mean? Because once you move on, it's very hard to go back. Unless it's a game that you just like, you passionately love, and you're like, okay, I've got some time now. I want to do this for me. So maybe one day I'll go back to it. And it is a game that when I do have people showing them VR, if they're into sports, I will let them go in that and they have fun with it. So there's that.
Yeah, it's
but yeah, at that price. But
yeah, when I played it, they hadn't like flipped a switch or something yet, and like so every single tournament was exactly the same difficulty, no difference whatsoever. And they're like, well, that shouldn't be the case. And I was like, that's what I played. It was exactly the same game. And they fixed that like on day one. So like they just didn't flip some switch, like they uploaded an old build or something. And so like the single player stuff is actually way better than my review makes it sound. But tennis is the kind of game you want to get online and play against somebody. And when the lag is so bad that you don't even know if your opponent is hitting the ball or missing the ball until it's already coming back at you, that means it's broken. So yeah. So for right now, no. Myles, I only played the first hour of Tentacular, and it's on sale right now for 35% off, $16 instead of $25. I liked it, but physics-based puzzle games, like, I didn't really get into it.
It's a tough game as well. I was actually surprised how tough it got. I'm about 90 minutes, 2 hours in. It's not a hard recommendation for me, but it seems to be a solid game. So I would say look at trailers. I've done a Let's Play. If it's your jam, I think it's a decent price for it. It's a decent discount. So, yeah.
Myles, I was going to wait until the end of this sale to get back to the tips, but clearly the chat is aware that that your birthday has rolled in. You are now your birthday plus 5 minutes old. So happy birthday!
Unfortunately, there's nothing that says underneath these games next to the save more with PlayStation Plus. Save 10% more if it's your birthday. That would have been nice. That would have been a nice little deal there. But no, thank you, Brian, and thank you, GameCats. I've seen all the messages and very, very kind. Another lap around the sun, and genuinely, this community has been a big part of my life this past year. I mean, literally, PSVR2 is coming up to exactly a year, and it's been the most incredible year. I mean, the year before that as well, just being a part of Without Parole and the family with Brian, AJ, and Wes has been amazing. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what the next year has in store for all of us. And I look forward to meeting some of you soon at PAX East as well. It'll be good.
Man, Bear Pig Game Cat, the $2 tip says, OMG, Myles, now the wiser Game Cat has a beard.
Yeah, that's age. It just happens. Yeah.
I just forgot to shave. Malkaya, the soul reading Game Cat with the $5 tip. Listening to GamesCast Live while soloing the final boss in Legendary Tales. Does it get any better? Victory. Keep being awesome, Game Cats. Thank you so much, Malkaya.
You soloed it. Wow. I'm curious to know what build you are.
Yeah, let us know. Because it's never too late for me to change. I'm only 2 hours into my new build, so like I will go back and change. Fifth with the Australian $2 tip says, happy birthday, Myles.
Thank you.
Which brings us to the Dark Pictures Switchback VR for 40% off, $24 instead of 40, which Jesus fucking fuck, dude. Like,
yeah,
Switchback never should have been $40. Like, that changes expectations. If it was $20 like Rush of Blood, we would have been like, yeah, it's not as good as Rush of Blood, but at least it's only $20. I feel like this is kind of like the price it should be, right?
Yeah. It's £19.79 in the UK. I think this is a good. The game looks great, and it's just a solid roller coaster shooter.
Yep, good on the dev team for fixing the graphics, for making it nice and sharp, for adding the new mode to it. Yeah, they've really improved this game, and I'm a much bigger fan of it now than I was. Which is not at all what I'm about to say about our next game, which is the Foglands, which is 30% off, 25 instead of 35. I do not think that this game can be salvaged. They are working on bringing us some more updates, and I've read through the updates that they're working on, and none of it seems like it's going to fix the game, be anything that I would recommend playing. So for 25, I'm definitely out on this. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, until I've played it, I couldn't comment. But there was so many issues when I played it, and I commend them for working on it. Whether it can be, salvaged and that's yet to be seen. But I definitely am going to jump back into it and see how it is, because there were elements there that I liked. I just felt that overall it had some very frustrating. How would I say it? It was frustratingly lacking in a lot of elements. So yeah. Tiger Blade, Brian.
In a world where we have 1,000 roguelike games on PSVR2, like, there's no room for the bad ones. I'm sorry. Tiger Blade, for $20 instead of 25, it's 20% off, plus an extra 5 with Plus. I think you really enjoyed this, right?
Yeah, this is one where I'm a bit cautious on recommending. For me, this is a great price, $15.99. I had an amazing time with it. To be fair, I haven't gone back to it, and I do want to go back to it. But I think I read that some people played it and they felt that it wasn't, that I'd oversold it. It's the whole thing. They just had a different opinion to me. Did you enjoy it?
Listen. There was a point where I think it was right before I took a week off, where like I just wasn't enjoying playing games, and I would jump in and be like, ugh, no, ugh,
yeah,
right. And I got into Tiger Blade, and I don't feel like I'm getting in the rhythm that they want me to get into. And I think that's really important with Tiger Blade. And I've yet to go back to it. It seemed like it had potential, but it also didn't seem like a game that should be more than $10. Like, it seemed like it was really lacking on content. And they say, oh, you're supposed to play it multiple times to get a high score, do it faster, do it better, whatever. And I'm like, sure, but you still only delivered a game that's an hour long. And so I'm kind of the opinion that maybe I don't quite recommend it even for the sale price yet. But I haven't played enough. It's not fair for me to even say this, to be honest with you.
No, the things I would say, the two things I'd say about the price for that is, in my opinion, like, it has an original soundtrack that is built in the game, and you're not a slave to the music. The music kind of serves you. Once you get into the rhythm and stuff, like being able to deflect bullets with your sword feels fucking badass. Knowing how to rotate, I think that's something they were going to patch, because I felt like rotation-wise, it was just click turning, and sometimes you just want to be able to smoothly do it. And then the other part is, when it comes to pricing, I don't think that it's too expensive. It's that there are other things that are better value for money. And what I mean by that is, when I think of like classic games like the original Time Crisis, the price that you'd pay for that, that's a short game. That's a short game, and that's what I felt like playing this game was like. It was a couple of hours of content, just whizzing through it. But it felt like an arcade game in that sense. So the way I described it was, it felt like classic Time Crisis with melee combat included. And I'm definitely looking forward to finding some time to go back in, but it's not for everyone. But I think if you were on the edge about it, I think it's a decent. You get another 5%, so it's 25% off if you have PlayStation Plus. Yeah.
Dan Keeper says Tiger Blade should be a helicopter game. There was a game called like Tiger Heli back in the day that was a helicopter game, so maybe that's where all of our minds are at. Toss, 30% off. It's $14 instead of 20. Dude, I gotta say, I feel as though not. I don't know if I underrated Toss, but I definitely feel like Toss is a hidden gem, and the developers have put so much time and energy into like updating the game on other platforms. I'm pretty fucking certain at some point they said the multiplayer modes that are on Quest or in PC are not coming to PlayStation VR2. And I'm like, well, then I'm really having a hard time recommending your game at this point. Like, yes, it's the stride syndrome where you're like, man, I really enjoyed what you did, but how do I recommend that everyone pick it up when you're not going to like even give us the same updates you're bringing everyone else? Like, Toss was such a cool idea.
That'd be a great Sunday multiplayer.
So much fun.
Like, yeah. It'd be such a cool hanging out thing. I just have a memory at Christmas. My auntie, who was new to VR, she played PSVR a bit, I think, but PSVR2. And one of the games I put her in was Toss. And she had to come out of it straight away because she had major vertigo. She's like, why am I up here in the clouds? It was amazing. I really love Toss. Unplugged air guitar next. I actually had a really good time with this. I like the music on it. It's got Offspring and stuff like that. I went into it being like, is this going to be fine? But as you sort of do the more technical stuff and you like learn different buttons, it's kind of like, it's an air guitar. It's like I'm the fantasy of playing guitar. It's not going to beat Guitar Hero. It's also not going to be as good as the like hand tracking, I think, on the Quest. Like, there's a lot less you can do with the Sense controllers. But I actually thought it's a fun game. And to be fair, I think for £10 or £9.99 in the UK, I think, yeah, if you're into those kind of games, if you want to get as close as you can to Guitar Hero in VR, pick this up. Yeah,
I'll have to give it a shot. I've had this since launch. This is one that I just never got around to playing. I mean, I hope I do, man. Like, so many games have gotten past me that like I need like 3 months to go and try to review like a ton of shit that came out over the last year, with no new releases. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Which brings us to VR Skater, 30% off, save an extra 5% with Plus, so 25 instead of 35. Yes, I fucking love VR Skater. It's great game. Done.
Yeah.
The closest you're going to get to Tony Hawk on PSVR2. I love the soundtrack. I love how pulling off tricks. I love how difficult it is when you're starting, so that when you actually learn how to do shit, it feels way more satisfying. I definitely, I thought it was a little expensive at launch for sure, but $25, cannot complain about that. Any objections? No?
Fine. No. I'm with you completely. I was agreeing with all that.
Waltz to the Wizard, $10 instead of $20. Save an extra 10% with Plus.
Yeah, a friend of mine bought this because he saw it on sale. It was weird because he asked me, like, would I recommend it? I said, there's a lot of interesting mechanics. I think, like, the voice recognition mechanics for casting spells is a really cool gimmick.
Yeah.
And I don't mean gimmick. Gimmick is sometimes seen as just a bad thing. I think it's a good thing in this case. And it is a game I want to go back to because I think there's more I need to explore. I never played the PSVR version, so this is like a more expanded version of the game. Was the PSVR version that you're just in the main room? You can't explore.
Yeah, there were a couple places you could teleport to and do like the little quests, but yeah, this was one of those situations where the developer was kind of being a weirdo about everything, being like, we're not going to update the PSVR1 version until Sony reveals their plans for PSVR2, and we're like, these two things have nothing to do with each other. You're not going to strong arm Sony. Alden Dynamics, like by like, we're not going to update our game. So we just had to sit there with our PSVR 1 versions, like seeing the Steam constantly get updated with all these new quests and new rooms and everything else. Which was, I will say, very cool of them to be like, hey, if you bought the PSVR 1 version, this massively expanded PSVR 2 version is a free update, which very good on them. What's the pick of the sale?
Oh man, what was the pick of? Oh man, you've really thrown me into it. I mean, I'm trying to have a look. I mean, this is controversial. I mean, I think After the Fall is a really good discount on that list. I'm just having a quick scroll through it again. I don't know, man. I do think After the Fall, and it is one of the bigger discounts on there. What about you?
I'm gonna go Propagation. It's only $6 off, but it's $6 off a price that already seemed a little bit too low. So you get no excuse. Yeah,
well, there you go. We've got a good mix of more actiony horror, if you call it that, but After the Fall, and more solitary horror.
Ian Stanbridge says Toss. It's the only choice. Which, hey, you know what? Yeah, Toss, dude. Toss, even if it doesn't get any more updates, it's a good time, and it's a pretty good price for it. And VR Skater, as Distracted says, it's a great price. So, some good stuff on sale. I'm glad we went through it game by game because we probably would have blown past some of those that deserved a little bit more attention. Chris Forthenberry says, what's with guys wanting everything to be difficult? I actually don't. I'm not very good at games. I'm really not. Like, I don't think I'm a very good gamer. Like, I love to play video games, but I would never call myself a great gamer. And so every so often, I really appreciated that VR Skater was. I mean, it scared me when I started playing VR Skater. So I was like, I got to get a fucking review of this game out. And like, I don't want to be falling every 2 seconds, right? And so that was sort of my reason to get better fast instead of just like a normal slow progression like that I think most people would have. And man, I felt so good when I was like, pulling off chains of tricks. And then I don't think I really wanted that again until Legendary Tales, which again I don't think is difficult in the Dark Souls sense, where it's like, oh my god, I'm dying every 5 minutes. It's difficult in the sense that like there's a lot to fucking learn. So I think for me personally, like I don't love really difficult games. I like a variety of games, and I'm really happy that when one is difficult, that I want to get better at it. That says that to me that's good game design. When you've created a difficult game that people actually want to get better at.
Yeah, I think it is. It's not difficult for difficult sake. It's more that it's a game that requires learning skills. So, like Breaches, for example, Breaches I like, but I have to play it quite an hour to really get back into it, to sort of get the feeling for it again and get into the mode. If I step away from it and come back a week later, I feel like I'm starting again. So that's why I'd regard that as a difficult game. But it's a game that if you are willing to invest the time in it, you'll really get as much out of it as you put into it.
more sirens. Violator the Game Kept Metal Messiah with the $5 tip says, "Happy birthday, Myles," with lots of emojis. Love the show as always.
Thank you.
Myles, we are running over our time here, so I think we should probably do some 20 questions before we call it a night. You ready to do this thing?
Yeah, I've picked out a game, I think.
Cool.
Are you ready, Brian?
Dude, I am almost ready. I'm going to create a little yes column and a no column on my notepad here.
Oh, nice.
By the way, Parasite 82 Green, about like 30 minutes ago, asked, is Aces of Thunder coming soon or delayed? As far as we know, it's still coming soon. The developers have not set a date on it. They've said they said they're like wrapping up development, and so they should be sharing. They're probably going to be sharing a release date with us soon. So that is exciting. Also, where the fuck is Cube VR? Like, Cube VR was supposed to be out in January, or it was supposed to be out in 2023, and then it was like, oh no, now January, now February, and I'm going to guess it's not coming out in February anymore. Hey, you know what? I think I messaged them right before the show. Let me make sure they didn't respond. Nope, they didn't respond. Okay.
To be fair, I'm quite okay with delays this month, just because although I have kind of a DIY green screen here, I'd rather prefer until I'm back in my own sort of studio setup. This is kind of how I felt about Madison VR as well. Although Madison's now coming out at PAX East.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll have review keys and we'll, be able to cover it before PAX East.
Hopefully.
Schedule some videos for while we're at PAX East. It's like we're never gone. It's like we're not even gone. People won't even realize. We're tricking everyone. All right, man. Yeah, I've got my yes and no columns. Guys, please help me out here. This is always more difficult than it seems. I completely forget every game the second this game starts. But we're playing 20 questions. Myles has a game picked out. It might be PSVR 1, might be PSVR 2. It could be both. And it's up to us, guys.
Might not even be a game.
Don't do that to me.
Could be a fruit or a.
Oh man, is it the Hulu
make of car?
So help me out, guys. Suggest good questions to me in the chat and good game suggestions based on the answers we get. Where in the hell is my timer? There it is. All right, man. 6 minutes up on the clock, the way that Jeremy likes it. On your mark, get Des. Go. Myles, did we mention this game on today's show?
We did.
Whoa, Myles, is this one of the sale games?
Yes.
Whoa. Okay. That limits it to 33 games. 33. Not too bad.
If only it was 35 questions, then you'd be in.
Right. Is this a puzzle game?
No.
Okay, well that eliminates Puzzling Places. That eliminates Red Matter 1, 2. Man. Okay. Actually, no, dude. I can't look at the puzzle games. Like that would be cheating. That would be way too cheating.
Oh, it's all right. The whole chat's about to list the entire list.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, guys, try not to cheat. Like, let's make this fun. Is there? Let's knock out 2 games. Is it a horror game?
No.
Okay, it's not Afterlife or Propagation.
That's 4. As in 4 questions.
Is it a music or rhythm game?
No. That's 5.
That knocks out a couple more too. We know it's on PSVR 2 because it's part of the sale. Unless it happens to be Resident Evil 7. Oh, but it's not a horror game, so that knocks out those 2. Excellent.
Oh, 7 a horror game? Okay.
No. Is it would you call it is it single player?
Yeah. 6.
Okay. Extreme weather. I'm allowed to look at the chat. Absolutely. This is how we've been playing it for years. So yeah, you guys are kind of playing this with me. But we're just not allowed to scroll through the store and shit like that. That would be really cheating. Okay, Looper's asking a good question. I was wondering if it's a sports game. So that would include tennis and VR Skater. Is it a sports game?
No.
No, man, we're knocking out like 2 games at a time here. Mad Vegan is playing Galaxy Kart right now. So is it a kart racer?
No.
Damn.
8.
I guess that would also technically be sports.
You got 12 questions left, and I think there's only like 12 games it could be left now.
Niles Ryan is asking if it's a cartoony game.
Yeah, 9.
Okay.
They're not going for realism with this.
Do you play as a human?
No. 10.
Do you play as some kind of animal that likes bananas?
That likes what? Sorry.
Bananas.
Yeah, I forget you Americans with your weird
Bananas.
pronunciations. Yeah. I didn't realize you pronounce it like that in America. Yeah, you do. Bananas.
Oh man. Let's just go for it. Is this toss?
It is, Brian. Well done. And
man.
well done to Dan Henrik, who guessed it right first. There were people that were asking very blunt questions like, are you in the clouds and stuff? Who knew it? But
Amazing.
Dan Henrik said toss.
Amazing. It's time to go.
Yeah.
Bananas. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why is that so fucking funny to me right now? Oh my god! All right, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, and Myles, thank you for managing to show up, even though you're not even home. Well, not your home. Well, not really.
Cool. At least this didn't fall down again on me. No,
There's
of course,
so many doors
and
behind you. Like, I don't like. Do any of them? Oh, are two closets?
Well, no, it's what pool I want to go in. What do I fancy today? So, like the single one, that's the exit, and then that's for round 1, and then that's round 2. I'm currently on round 1, and then I can unlock round 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, which one's Narnia?
Oh, I haven't. Well, it must be number 3 because it wasn't number 2. This was more of a desert level.
Sure.
Yeah.
Your parents have really expanded since you've left. They're like, I don't know. Anyway, Jesus Christ. Guys, thank you to everybody who helps this channel run. Make sure you go subscribe to Myles, who also helps this channel run, who has played like every PSVR2 game, which means he's way ahead of me on this stuff. There's
a few that I'm behind on. I still need to play Space Docking.
Oh, I have one up on you. That's good. I like Space Docker VR.
Yeah. But I've done 170. 170.
That's
yeah, it's amazing. Where are the games? Brian? Where are the games?
Dude, and then less than a week from now is the 1-year anniversary, man, and like there could be some announcements, there could be some cool stuff happening. We don't really know, but maybe we do. So fucking next week, man, it's going to be exciting. We'll have to do something special for the anniversary. I got a couple invitations to be on other people's shows. So if I start popping up on other places, hi from other channels. Guys, thanks to everybody who helps the channel run. My moderators are kicking ass over here and over on Discord. Thank you to them. Thank you to RyPop for putting this on podcast services of your choice. Rody, the GameCat Army General, for the timestamps that he puts into the show after the fact. Everybody supports the channel financially over on patreon.com/withoutparole by being a member over here, by tipping during the show. It makes all the difference in the world, guys. You have no idea. But we also appreciate everyone who just hangs out, is part of the community. That's like such a big deal. We'd rather have you here. Your presence is by far more important than your money. So thank you for everyone. And of course, thank you to everybody who sits back and watches the show and doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. We love you just as much. Happy Friday, Myles.
Happy Friday, Brian. Happy Friday, GameCats. Have a wonderful week. And what game are you playing Sunday?
Legendary Tales.
See you in Legendary Tales.
Myles, how is it that every Friday I forget that we need to do a clip of the week? Yep.
I don't know. You managed to find one yet, or
I mean, listen,
you searching now?
I got to cross my fingers, and because I think last week, I want to say last week we used Andrew Ehrenreich's clip of Legendary Tales, right? When one of the
Correct.
peasants turned into the creature from The Ring.
Weird spaghetti.
Yeah.
Spaghetti, yeah.
So listen, I don't have time to go through and check all these out. But Andrew Ehrenreich has submitted another clip of the week.
Oh my god, he thought I got away with it last time. I can get away with something even worse this time.
Right? Exactly.
I love it.
It's a slow progression, man, but I think it's going to happen. So let's see here. Clip of the week. Let's see what Andrew Ehrenreich was up to this week. Damn, he's so much better at combat than I am. That was really good. It was really good. I didn't hear any of the sounds, but it was pretty awesome. Ian Sandbridge says this will be the one that gets Brian canceled, probably, and let's hope so. All right, man. Time to get out of here. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks, Brian. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Oh, Foxdie Infected with a €2 says, good night. Good night, Foxdie.